Hi, welcome. How are you? I'm glad you're here. Let's pick up where we last left off. So, in part one, I talked about my arrival to Japan. Now, in part two, I'm going to talk about my first month living in Japan and my placement on the JET program in Ibaraki Prefecture. So my first month here was basically spent getting my life put together. In about the first 2 weeks, I did a lot of things. My outings usually happened during the workday because I'm pretty sure taking care of an ALT counts as work for the teachers. So during some of the days, I would go with my supervisor to take care of all of the setting up things that I had to do. I went to City Hall several times to get things like my residence card and other things that I honestly don't remember. They gave me a welcome package. I got free tickets to the zoo. You have to use special bags for trash here, so they gave me a thing of free trash bags and like some other like city information. Then I also went to the bank. I went to doctors. I went to the realtor's office a couple of times to look for an apartment and then finally sign my lease. I think this was the third apartment that I looked at before deciding I was going to live here. I chose this apartment mostly because I was tired of looking at apartments. And even though it didn't have most of the things that I was looking for, it grew on me and I actually really like living here. I am in my new apartment. It is exactly how it came except for my bag, like my backpack and my 2 suitcases. So before anything else comes in, I want to give you a quick tour. It's small, it's very small, like really small. It's a studio and yeah, I'll just let you check it out. So first we have the entryway. In Japan it's called a genkan, and what's important about this place is that Japan is a shoes off household. When you go to someone's house or when you take your shoes off, you leave them by the step. Toes face the door. It's just manners. For me, I'll put my shoes in this cabinet. My apartment is typical Japanese style. The only separate room is my bathroom. My toilet has a bidet. To the left is where my washer goes. Dryers are not a thing in Japan. We'll have to get used to it. To the right is my shower. The tub is short, but it's deep. If I keep my legs bent, all of me fits underwater. This is where my refrigerator goes. And this is the first of my 2 closets. They are both unfinished and semi-unfinished. In the hallway to my room is my kitchen. It's really small, 1 burner, tiny counter space. My kitchen has built-in shelves and cabinet space. This is my room. The walls are super thin and basically made of paper, but my ceilings are kind of high, and that makes the space look a lot bigger. My closet is surprisingly big for this space. I love how the back wall is just big sliding glass doors to my balcony. I went with my supervisor to a ton of different stores around my city to find things for my apartment. I ended up getting a lot of things off of Amazon Japan too. That was partially because I didn't want to take up more of my supervisor's time, but I also wanted enough time to look at the things that I was buying to see if I really needed it and compare different products, make sure everything was going to match my theme. So most of my furniture that I'm looking around at, most of it does match. My appliances and my bed, that stuff was able to be set for delivery, but that also meant that I had to wait for these things to get delivered. I think it took maybe 5 days or something after buying my refrigerator for it to be delivered. So during that time, I couldn't have any perishable food. I spent that time getting acquainted with the convenience store by my apartment and walking to the grocery store. I think I walked to the grocery store every day. After work, I would just go and pick up dinner and breakfast for the next morning. because that's all I could do. And I also ate out a ton my first couple of weeks here, not just like at the convenience store for like lunch, but also for dinner. In my trying a lot of food, I got acquainted with one of my favorite dishes, okonomiyaki. If you ever get the chance to try it, please do. It's delicious. The second thing that I met in Japan that I absolutely fell in love with is melon bread. Both of these things, if you watch anime at all, will sing to your heart. I liked melon bread so much that I ate it literally every day for like 2 months. Maybe not every day, at least 6 times a week. I ate it so much it started losing flavor. The flavor started becoming mundane. Anytime I go to a new convenience store or go to a bakery, I have to try their melon bread. And I'm not gonna lie to you, 7-Eleven's melon bread so far is the best. If you're ever by a 7-Eleven and you walk down that aisle, pick you up one. Pick you up melon bread. They're really good. They don't taste, most of them don't taste anything like melon. They just look like a melon artistically. It's just sweet bread with like a sugar crust on top. It's delicious. I didn't spend very many full days at work when I first got here, and like I said, in the first week, definitely the first week, but like maybe the first 2 weeks, because there were so many other things that I needed to do. Students were still on summer vacation, so I didn't have any classes to teach, which honestly is kind of a blessing because it helps you like acclimate to your new position and your new life. When I did go to work, I worked on my introduction lesson for most of the time. Intro lessons are like really stressful, especially for someone who doesn't really have any formal teaching education, and having not met the students before, it's hard to know what English they will understand and what will be interesting to them. Intro lessons are important for ALTs because it's our first time seeing our students getting to interact and teach. It's also supposed to be a cultural lesson. It's about you and your hometown, the things that you like to do as a foreigner. Somehow we have to be entertaining while also providing realism. And how do you do that? I don't know. I never had to give an intro lesson like that to people that didn't know much about the truth of my country, and that is a challenge. In the States, I really didn't lead an exciting life. Like, my school appropriate hobbies were like boring, I guess. And so it was hard for me to try to put together a lesson that I thought the students would think was exciting. The intro lesson that I did make, I think I changed it after almost every class that I did it, just trying to make it better. And in the end, like when I did my intro lesson for the new first graders this year, I hacked off half of my intro lesson from before. Come next year, I will probably revamp my intro lesson again to make it where I talk less and my students think and talk more. My advice for anyone having to do a lesson like that, things that you think aren't interesting might be interesting to the people listening. Even if it is something mundane, like even if one of your hobbies is you like to cook, chances are there might be a student or two who also like to cook. So even though your hobby isn't extravagant, it's still relatable to someone. You only need to catch 1 or 2 of them for like each thing that you do, and then maybe you'll catch them all with all of your hobbies and you're interesting. Congratulations, you did it. You did your job. I didn't travel that much, and honestly it was one of my expectations that I thought I would travel more. Like, I thought I would be off gallivanting around Japan any free moment I had, but that was not realistic. I'm great at making unrealistic goals. I didn't know how to use the train system or public transportation yet, like, whew. Anyway, I did get to go hiking with one of the other new ALTs in my same city and her predecessor. So we hopped on the train, met up with her predecessor. We popped into one of the convenience stores, picked up lunch, went to the park, had a little picnic, and then afterwards we just hiked around the park. And it was challenging, actually. Like, I didn't expect it to be, since we were going to a park, I thought it was gonna be more like an easy walking path, but no, it had some steep hills going on in like forested area. I hit countless spider webs. We saw a snake. It was bright green. It was really cool. We also saw a praying mantis, and it was super cute. Loved that one. It didn't like me so much though. Oh, there was a pond there that had like some little fish swimming in it, and it was like full of lily pads. It was really pretty, and it was cool to get to talk to a predecessor, to get her take on teaching. Even though we didn't teach at the same schools, getting to talk with her was still really good. She had really good ideas and good experiences to share. My first month was busy and draining. I think it was mentally draining because everything was just new. In a new place, new language, and learning a new job position. Even though my first month was mentally draining, it was still really good. Like, I was still really happy and having a good time and good experiences, but lots of good stimulating things can still be draining, and that's basically what I was experiencing. If you want to know what I did after my first month in Japan, check that out in my next video, what I did in September and October. I went a couple of cool places that I can't wait to show you. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you next time, and until then, bye. Oh, great. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. So if you're ever in Japan and you roll down the aisle, not by a school, because there will be no melon bread after 12 p.m. on a school day because the children eat the melon bread. I digress.